Is it about prioritizing yourself? Prioritizing your self-care? Do it. Is it about reframing those negative self-talk? Do it. Is it about seeking the support that you need? Definitely do it. Or is it just practicing mindfulness? Girl, do it. You clicked on this video because you want to learn about the importance of self-compassion, especially for us who are maybe busy moms. You have a lot going on. Maybe you're also a working mom, or you're a full-time mom, anything in that spectrum. So for me, for example, I work from home, but I'm also home with my child, so that can be a lot. So I've been thinking a lot about self-compassion. What exactly is self-compassion? Because I feel like through all the trials, whether it's at work, in our marriages, and just life in general with family and with the children or with the child, it can be a lot to handle. And sometimes I just feel like we don't have enough self-compassion for ourselves to actually take the time out to take care of ourselves. So we are going to talk about that today. As someone who has been through the ups and downs of trying to balance everything, whether it's work, family, a business, this YouTube channel, and just life, it's always hard to find time to just take care of ourselves and treat ourselves with kindness. However, I understand how important it is for us to take care of ourselves so that we can be well-rounded, well-adjusted adults. So I want to share some tips and tricks that I've been thinking about and I've been implementing in my own life to try to show myself more self-compassion. So first, we're going to start with a definition for what self-compassion is. Self-compassion is just treating ourselves with the same kindness and love and care that we would give to a good friend. The same kindness and love that we will share with our children, with our spouse, in any relationship that's important to us. We need to share that same kind of love and kindness to ourselves. It is not selfish. It means that we are recognizing that we are human and that we are not perfect, and that is okay. It means that we are gentle with ourselves when we fall short of the expectations that we have placed on ourselves. It means that we are kind to ourselves when we fall short of anything that we have planned that we are not able to execute. When we make mistakes, we are kind to ourselves. That's what self-compassion is. Studies have shown that when we practice more self-compassion, when we are leading with self-compassion, we have lower levels of stress, we have lower levels of anxiety, we have lower levels of depression. So it is just much better for us. And when we have lower levels of these things, we tend to have higher levels of resilience. We're able to actually push through when things get hard, and we also have a higher level of perceived happiness. So it is definitely essential that we are practicing self-compassion, especially if you're busy, you have 100,000 things going on. We can't beat ourselves down. We cannot pour from an empty cup. So we have to make sure we are pouring into ourselves. And yes, it's easily said than done, but we have strategies that we're going to talk about today that you and I are going to try to commit to a few of them so that we can show ourselves more love and just respect ourselves more. Show ourselves that self-compassion and kindness that we thoroughly deserve. So what does lacking self-compassion actually look like? What does it look like in action? It looks like being overly judgmental of ourselves. It means we are comparing ourselves to somebody else. You are comparing yourself to somebody else on social media. You're watching that video when it looks like mom is she's cooking and she's cleaning and she got baby and she's doing the 9 to 5 and she's just doing everything and it looks perfect. That's us not showing self-compassion to ourselves, because we have to know that that is a highlight reel. That's not real. And if it is real, they're probably getting a lot of help. So we have to give ourselves grace. Lack of self-compassion is leaving our cups empty and trying to fill somebody else's cup. I always think about this. When you are on the plane and you're traveling and they are about to tell you about like the safety measures on the plane, one of the things they always tell us is when those oxygen masks come down, you need to put yours on first before you can put it on somebody else. So even for your own child that you love so dearly, you can't help them if you're not actually taking the time to help yourself. If you don't put that mask on, you could pass out before you can actually care of your child. So it's always important that we pour into ourselves before we can pour to somebody else. And I know, easily said than done, but we can find little things in our daily lives that's going to allow us to start practicing the skill of just loving ourselves, showing ourselves some compassion, showing ourselves some self-love and just self-care. I've definitely been there myself. So if this sounds like you, don't feel bad. If any of this sounds familiar to you, don't feel bad. It is normal and you're not alone. So we're going to share those tips and strategies now so that we can get ourselves together. So let's move on to the first thing that we're going to do so we can start cultivating that self-compassion. The first thing that we're going to do is practice mindfulness. And I said this first because this was the hardest thing for me to do. Just being quiet, sitting in a spot and being okay with my thoughts. Because when I realized that when I actually started to calm myself down, to take those few minutes in the morning, I am setting myself up for a better day. And practicing mindfulness will look different for different people. For some people, it's maybe using an app like Headspace or Calm and just using that to like do some sort of meditation or just taking the time out to just be calm in the morning before you set the precedence for the rest of your day. For me, it looks like prayer, just taking a few minutes to just pray, talk to God, just say, this is what I want to experience today. Help me to experience these specific things today. These are the burdens that I have. Please take them for me. I want to leave them up at your feet. I want you to take care of them on my behalf so that I can enjoy my day. And just taking those few minutes to do that definitely sets the tone for the day. Something else that you may want to consider is just writing down your priorities for the day and taking it a second step of putting it in your calendar as to what time you're going to do it. Something that I noticed was like I was planning too many things to do in the day on top of having a 9 to 5, on top of being at home with a kid all day. So once I started to do some time blocking and looking at like my time, I realized that I was stretching myself thin and I was never going to be satisfied with what I got done because I had just planned too much for the day. So when you start looking at things from that direction, which is first practicing mindfulness so that you can even understand your day, set the tone for your day, and then actually setting up the expectations for yourself on what you're planning to accomplish that day, it just feels easier, it feels more refreshing, and that's just one step in us practicing self-compassion. So the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to practice self-care. Yep, it's a buzzword, we hear it everywhere. Practice self-care, but it's important. It's beyond just taking a bath. It can be anything for you. It could be just reading that book that you've been putting aside that you've always wanted to read and you haven't read yet. It's finding time to actually do that thing that's going to bring joy to you. Whether it's reading, is it cooking, is it just laying in the tub with a glass of wine and you're just chilling, is it watching Netflix by yourself, is it going for a walk, is it exercising, is it giving yourself a nice facial? Whatever it is that's bringing joy to you, you have to find time in your calendar to insert that self-care into it. Like, what is life if everything we do is stressful, where we have no enjoyable moments in our day? It does not make sense. We are more deserving of that. We are more deserving of being cared for. We are deserving of caring for ourselves. There's nothing selfish about it. And I think a lot of times we use the buzzwords of self-care so much that it starts to sound like self-indulgence. It starts to sound like we don't care about other people. Caring for yourself does not mean you don't care about other people. Caring for yourself means that you're putting yourself first at times so that you are able to show up as a better version of yourself when it's time to do so. You're able to show up as a better wife, as a better employee, as a better employer. You're able to show up as a better YouTuber. You're able to show up as a better parent, a better mother, a better wife, a better daughter, a better sister, when you feel like you are also being taken care of. So it is important, it is imperative that you will pour it into yourself. And self-care is one way of doing it. I love soaking in the bath. That's my form of self-care. Getting that magnesium into my body, that is my way of getting self-care because I feel so much better. My muscle feels less tense. That's my version of self-care. But for you, it could look different. And you have to give yourself permission to discover what it is for you. Give yourself permission to discover what your self-care is. And don't care what the outside voices say. And you can show up in other areas of your life better. The third thing we're going to do is reframe those negative self-talk. We all do it. We all have those thoughts in our mind that are just roaming through our minds telling us we're not doing enough, you're not showing up enough. I just had this last night, and my husband had to talk to me like, girl, what's wrong with you? You are doing enough. So even as I'm telling you this today, it's something that we have to consistently practice. So we have to reframe those negative self-talk. We have to reframe the way we talk to ourselves. We have to build better relationships with ourselves, because the things that we say out of our mouths about ourselves also matter. So we have to rephrase that. So instead of saying something like, oh my God, I'm such a failure. I hope you're not saying that to yourself. But let's say you said that. Oh my God, I'm such a failure. Instead, you would say, you know what? I tried my best. And I did the best that I can today. And it's enough. I did the best that I can. And it's enough. I did the best that I can. And it's enough. Oh, I did the best that I can. And it's enough. And that's where you want to be. You want to rephrase those things that you were saying to yourself that are negative and are just pulling you down. So our goal is to reframe those thoughts, right? We're going to reframe the thoughts that we're having. We're going to make sure the new thoughts that we're having are supportive and they show self-compassion. One way that I've been able to do this is when I went into therapy, I spoke to my therapist and she said, I want you to try out affirmations. And I was like, girl, I don't care about that. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't have to say all these things to myself. And she's like, no, I want you to try it. I want you to look in the mirror and you're going to say these positive things to yourself. And I said, okay, we'll give it a try. And the difference it made was astounding to me. And that's when I realized the power of the tongue. The things we say to ourselves do manifest in real life. So we have to be careful about the things that we say. And we have to reframe those negative self-talks into more positive ones. So a good way for you to do that is to grab an app. I have an app that I actually use. I think it's called I Am. I'll put it on the screen. So what it does is actually maybe, I think it's like every hour or so, it would send you an affirmation. And I would repeat this affirmation to myself. And I've just realized that just having those triggers throughout the day, telling me to reframe my thoughts, have been so helpful. I've had the app on my phone for probably 2 years now. And I love it because it feels like at the right time, something would just pop up and be like, that's exactly how I was just feeling. Oh my gosh, yes, I definitely need to reframe the way that I'm thinking about this. And I find that super helpful. I'm going to put it on your screen and it's free. I think there's a premium version, but I use the free one. I'll put it on the screen and I think you will find it helpful. Another strategy that I'm going to give you is for you to seek support. Seek support from somebody that you trust, that you love, that you know loves you and cares about you. And you can also seek support from someone who is a professional. Consider going to therapy if that's the route that you think will work for you. Sometimes it's just hard for us to practice self-compassion. And sometimes we just need somebody else to remind us to practice self-compassion. So it's okay for you to reach out to somebody who can hold you accountable. Sometimes we just need that accountability. And seeking support also looks like different things as well. I think a lot of times as a busy mom or when you are ambitious, you tend to think you can do everything yourself. And I've had to learn the hard way. You cannot do everything yourself. If you have a village, if you have people that love you, if you have family members that can show up for you, allow them to show up for you. And I know that can be hard because you don't want to, again, you don't want to feel like a burden to other people. You want to feel like, you know, you're there for everybody else. But when they want to be there for you, you're resistant to it. And you have to do better. I feel like I'm talking to myself because I do this as well. So together we can definitely do better in terms of like seeking the help that we need and accepting the help when it comes. A lot of times we don't accept it. We have to have a more accepting mindset so that we can accept the help. But if you need professional guidance, then seek out therapy. Seek out a professional that you can talk to. There ain't nothing wrong with it, okay? Nothing. So we're gonna wrap it up by saying that self-compassion is something that we can all practice. Self-compassion is important whether you are a busy working from home mom, a 9-to-5 mom, or the mom in between. Self-compassion is important. Of course, it relates to other types of people, but I'm specifically talking to us working mom. It's just hot out there, especially like for me, working from home with a baby, it is hard. So because of that, I was just like, there has to be somebody else out there who is feeling the way I'm feeling. So this is what this video is for you. Let's practice that self-compassion. Let's treat ourselves with kindness. Let's be understanding of ourselves. Let's not diminish ourselves with negative self-talk. Let's be more self-compassionate, and that's going to allow us to build the resilience that we need to go through the circumstances and the wrenches that life is just going to throw us. There's going to be all types of things that are going to be thrown our path, but if we have that level of self-compassion, if we're able to just show up for ourselves, I think we'll be able to better equip ourselves to work through any situations that come our way. Is it about prioritizing yourself? Prioritizing your self-care? Do it. Is it about reframing those negative self-talk? Do it. Is it about seeking the support that you need? Definitely do it. Or is it just practicing mindfulness? Girl, do it. So pick one of these. Promise yourself you're going to do it. Go into the comment section. Let me know which one of these are you going to start practicing today. Even if it's picking one thing out of the 4 things that I share with you today, you are on the way to showing yourself more self-compassion. I would love to hear from you. If you like videos like this, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. I would really, really appreciate you. I saw that 94% of y'all are watching the videos and not subscribed. Subscribe. Make sure you like this video, comment below, and I would love to see you in my next episode. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.